In feudal Japan, a samurai named Miyamoto Musashi fought 61 duels in his lifetime. He never lost once. Not because he was born with better hands or faster reflexes, because of how he thought. Because of the 7 disciplines he built his entire life around. Disciplines that most people today look at and immediately dismiss as too extreme. And that's exactly why most people are losing. Here's what nobody tells you about the samurai. They weren't born warriors. They were built. Every single one of them went through a process called shugyo, intentional, uncomfortable self-discipline, where they stripped away every comfort until what was left was unbreakable. The average samurai began serious training at age 7. By 13, they had already failed more times than most adults ever attempt anything. That's the first habit, and it's not what you think it is. Habit 1. Embrace the bad day. Not tolerate it, not survive it, actually welcome it. Musashi called this forging the spirit through adversity. Modern psychology calls it stress inoculation, exposing yourself to controlled difficulty so your threat response recalibrates. When everything goes wrong on a Tuesday and you don't fall apart, that's not luck, that's training. The samurai trained in the rain, on empty stomachs, in the cold, on purpose. Not because they liked suffering, because they knew the day they needed to perform, conditions wouldn't be ideal, so they made bad conditions their baseline. Habit 2. One thing at a time. The samurai code of Bushido demanded full presence in every single action. Drinking tea, you drink the tea. Nothing else exists. This is not mystical. There's a reason your brain processes 11 million bits of information per second, but can only consciously handle 40 of them. When you split those 40 between 3 tabs, 2 conversations, and a half-written text message, you are giving everything a fraction of what it deserves. The samurai gave one thing everything. That's why they were dangerous. Habit 3. The 5 a.m. edge. Not because waking up early is magical, because what you do before the world has demands on you, that's yours. Musashi wrote most of the Book of 5 Rings in a cave at dawn. No interruptions, no notifications, just clarity. If you check your phone before you've had a single thought that was actually yours, you've already given your morning to someone else's agenda. Habit 4. Speak less, observe more. There's a samurai principle called Ma, the power of the pause, the space between words, between actions, between reactions. The average person responds to bad news in 0.6 seconds. The samurai trained the pause because the pause is where intelligence lives. Next time someone says something that irritates you, wait 4 seconds before you respond. Not 5, not 2, 4. Long enough to think, short enough to still be present. You'll say something completely different, usually something better. Habit 5. Know your weapon. Every samurai spent more time maintaining the katana than using it. They cleaned it, sharpened it, studied it. Your weapon is your mind, your body, your specific skill. And most people go years without deliberately sharpening it. They use the same thinking patterns, the same approaches, the same mental shortcuts from 2019. A dull blade can still cut, but it won't do what you need when the moment actually matters. Habit 6. Death as a compass. This sounds dark. It isn't. The Hagakure philosophy of the samurai opens with this line: "The way of the samurai is found in death." What they meant was this: when you accept that you will die, that this version of your life is finite, every decision becomes clearer. You stop wasting Tuesday. You stop having the same argument for the 4th time. You stop waiting for circumstances to improve before you start living the way you actually want to live. The modern equivalent is what psychologists call mortality salience. Studies show that people who spend 7 minutes reflecting on their own mortality make dramatically better long-term decisions in the following 48 hours. Not depressing, clarifying. Habit 7. Choose your code and stick to it. The samurai didn't reinvent their values every morning depending on how they felt. Bushido was fixed: loyalty, honor, discipline, respect, non-negotiable regardless of mood. This is what modern psychology calls identity-based behavior. James Clear built an entire book around this idea. When your behavior comes from who you are rather than how you feel, you become consistent, and consistency over 18 months will beat intensity over 3 weeks every single time. Here's the truth. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. in a kimono. You don't need to meditate for 2 hours or read ancient Japanese philosophy. You need to pick 2 of these 7 habits and start tomorrow. Not Monday, not next month, tomorrow. The samurai who lost duels weren't weaker, they were less prepared. That's the only real difference. And preparation starts with a decision made in the next 60 seconds. The sword doesn't make the samurai makes the samurai. If you watched all the way to here, that already puts you in a small minority of people who are actually interested in doing the work, not just talking about it. That matters. Drop a comment with which habit hits hardest for you. I read them all. Hit like if this landed, subscribe for more, and check out the other videos on the channel. There's more where this came from.